really rural and they only speak Japanese, and like, yeah, we just have those random experiences. So I think those are the while I'm young, and hopefully make this work so I can actually turn my passion into a job. So that's the reason I quit and decided to give it a shot.
Thank you for taking the interview. My name is Ryu. What's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Canada.
Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, Vancouver.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So how long have you been here?
So 2 weeks for this trip, but I've been to Japan 4 times. So the longest I've been here is 1 year, but for this trip it's only 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And then how long will you stay in Japan
This time 1 year again.
More 1 year. Like you got visa?
Exactly, yeah. Working holiday visa.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So last time you came to Japan for a year. So what kind of visa did you use?
It was working visa.
Working visa.
And I was an English teacher at that time, so the visa was sponsored.
Okay. So which prefecture?
That was in Ibaraki.
Oh, Ibaraki?
Yeah.
I'm from Tochigi area.
Oh, really? Okay, just north of.
Yeah,
Ibaraki,
near.
Yeah. It was really inaka.
Okay. So do you speak Japanese?
少しだけです。
Yeah, but maybe if you lived in rural area in Japan, you have to speak Japanese. So
Exactly.
Oh, I see. Okay. So in this time, what brings you here?
Yeah, so this time as I was mentioning to you earlier, I do photography and videography. So I quit my full-time job in Canada to come here and just travel this time and take photos and videos. Haven't made any money yet, but that's the plan.
Amazing. That's so cool.
I appreciate it.
So before you came here, what kind of job do you have in Canada?
In Canada, so I was doing this part-time, but full-time I was doing real estate development. So like building new houses, new buildings, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. And you saved money and you came here.
Exactly.
Wow, that's cool. In this time, so you don't want to work in any other part-time job except for photograph?
Exactly. So yeah, like last time I was here, because I was an English teacher, we had enough vacation time, but I really love Japan, so I wanted to explore more. So this time I wanted to come and only do this without distractions like another job or something.
Oh, cool. Okay. So totally you stayed in more than 1 year, and what is the most surprising things in Japan?
Ooh, the most surprising?
Yeah.
I guess since I've been here several times now, it's not as surprising anymore, but when I first came to Japan, or when I lived here for the first time, there were lots of things I realized that maybe not many tourists would realize because they're only here for a short time.
Yeah.
But I think like especially the working culture and school culture.
School culture.
Yeah, because I had lots of students, right? So I
Yeah.
heard their experiences and I could compare it to my own from Canada. And I think school is extremely difficult here, which of course many people are very smart here, but I also think kids are, sometimes they, I don't know, they get really tired, some of them get depressed. I've noticed when, some of my students would come to class, they were, they didn't seem to be having a lot of fun, and they were always studying. And so that was one thing that really surprised me.
Wow.
Growing up in Canada. I also grew up in France, so I had the experience that I can compare to those two, and now Japan too. And I think France has a difficult schooling, but Canada is much easier, which in some ways is bad because, people maybe aren't as smart, but
Yeah.
By the time you get to university, everyone kind of catches up to each other, and it ends up being okay. But I think growing up in Canada, we had much more free time as children, so we could, do things that we were interested in other than school, and learn about ourselves more and have a childhood. So I think that was one thing that basically.
I see.
But anyway.
Okay, so what is best experience so far? Like,
So many good experiences, but I would say my favorite kind of experiences in Japan is when I'm just traveling and I don't expect, kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect anything. I'm just doing my own thing, or I'm at a restaurant or something, and I just meet new friends, and then we end up just like, I don't know, just hanging out or like going for a drink. And I've had all kinds of experiences like this because I think, people say that Japanese people are kind of introverted, or not necessarily introverted, but a little bit more reserved. And but I think if you do speak a little bit of Japanese, I think they're much more open to talking with you, and then you can have some amazing experiences. I'll just name a random example. Last time I was here in Tokyo, I just showed up to a hostel, and there was a bar in the hostel.
Yeah.
And so I came down after I packed my stuff, and I came down for a drink because it was late. And then the bartender, and then the girl that was sitting there, and then another guy who's from Italy. We just ended up drinking, and then once they closed the bar, we went for karaoke, and
Wow.
it ended up being such a fun night, and just randomly. So, and I've had multiple of those experiences in Japan, and it's not only Tokyo where there's sometimes foreigners, sometimes where it's really rural and they only speak Japanese, and we just have those random experiences. So I think those are the best times.
I see. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so I want to ask about a little bit your personal things. And what is your short-term goal? Short-term goal.
Oh yeah. Short-term goal. So let's say 1 year or
1 year. 1 or 2 years.
1 or 2 years. Okay. So since I quit my full-time job, I really want to make photography and videography and social media a job. I want to make money for me. More money than I have been before. So I want it to be my full-time job. That's my goal. But to be more specific, of course I need to work with a lot more brands than I used to when I was only doing it part-time. And like you probably, I want to monetize YouTube and start making money that way. So.
Oh, do you have a YouTube channel as well?
Yeah, but I've posted really just amateur videos. So I actually deleted them because I'm going to be starting from zero now. So
okay.
Yeah.
I will share your Instagram or TikTok around
thank you
here.
very much. Awesome.
Okay. How did you decide to quit your job and focus on the things you are really, really interested?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes because of social media, and I follow so many creatives that they inspire me, that maybe if I wasn't on social media, I wouldn't have done this. But I think because I follow so many inspirational people, and it's more common to do that now.
Yeah.
People sharing their experiences, and they're starting to make money through unconventional means like social media, photography, all these sort of things. So I think that's a big reason. But I also think that as I was working in an office job, I think I kind of enjoyed it, but I've always been creative, and I love the outdoors. I love traveling, growing up in different countries. All these things kind of shaped me, and I realized that I actually don't want to be in an office for 40 years until I'm 60 and then retire, because just in Canada it's usually 2 or 3 weeks vacation. I think it's similar in Japan, but even in Japan you probably don't even take
a week vacation.
Exactly, yeah. So in Canada it's better, but in Europe it's actually way better. It's 1 or 2 months sometimes. But anyway, in Canada, I don't want to live my entire life with only visiting a country once a year for 2 weeks. Because even that's not enough. I've been to Japan 4 times now, and it's I still haven't seen everything I want to see. So I realized if I stay at a job like this, I won't be able to do what I truly want to do. It's just not enough time, and I want to see so many places, and especially while I'm young still, before I have a family, before I have a full-on career, I want to do the things I want to do while I'm young, and hopefully make this work so I can actually turn my passion into a job. So that's the reason I quit and decided to give it a shot. But if it doesn't happen, if I can't make it work, then I can always go back to a job in a couple of years in Canada, and it'll be okay. But I want to while I'm young, try this.
Yeah, I'm also trying new things lately, so I want to cheer up you.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Okay, so why did you decide to come back to Japan, not challenge new country like Korea, Taiwan, something like that?
Right. Yeah, I think Japan, it's still a challenge for me because I'm not completely fluent in Japanese. I can get by, in daily life perfectly fine, but it's still a language where I have, it's still a barrier. It's not completely comfortable to me. And then, like I said, there's just still so many places in Japan I want to see. And compared to Korea or Taiwan, Taiwan has really good hiking, but in my opinion, I think like the landscapes in Japan are more beautiful. And then Korea, like, doesn't really have much hiking. And in my opinion, the nature is like not as beautiful as it is in Korea. In Japan. But so those are big reasons for me, because my photography, my videography is really focused on a lot of outdoors and
nature.
Travel, nature. So that's a big reason for me. And the other reason is that I'm actually going to buy a van, and I'm going to be traveling and living in the van while I travel around Japan.
Well, you live in van?
Yeah.
Wow!
So right now I'm trying to buy a van, and it's really hard. So I was making videos about how to do it.
Wow, it's gonna be going viral.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I think because it's so hard to do that, not many foreigners come to Japan to do van life.
Yeah, right.
In North America and Europe, it's very common.
But I haven't heard foreigners do this in Japan.
Exactly, so I think it's an opportunity for me.
Yeah,
because I'm somewhat comfortable with Japan. This time I wanted to come back and try to do this. Even though it's hard to do, I think I can do it. Like, I'm just looking for an address and things right now to finally get my van and then register it. There's all kinds of like steps you need to do to get there. But once I do it, I think like I'll be one of the only people on YouTube or Instagram to do it. So I think it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, right.
For me to,
100%.
like, grow my account and my business, and yeah.
Wow, I see. How much is the budget of car?
Originally it was 10,000 Canadian dollars, which is
100万円?
100万, yeah. But I went a little bit over budget because I found a really good one, and so it was 150万.
Wow, quite expensive.
Yeah, so I actually don't have as much money as I want. Like I've spent more money than I expected on the van, so now I don't have as much money as I would like to have.
Okay, but until you get the car, you have to save a lot of money.
Exactly, yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
So last question. So you chose a lot of challenging things in your life, I guess. So could you give any advice to someone who want to work hard or to challenge new things?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know. I think you kind of need to have a plan. Like, so of course this is a big risk that like what I'm doing, like quitting my comfortable job that I make a lot more money there than I do with like photography. But it's not like I'm doing it like with zero risk. Of course I can always go back to Canada, have a job waiting for me. But I think if you really are passionate about something, like I've been working on photography and videography for the past few years on the side, saving up my money and planning, growing my skills while I can. And then I finally decided that it was the time. I have enough money that even if I'm not making money for a while, I can use my savings until I start making money. And I think it's important to have a plan, but I think you should still chase your passions and your dreams, like really work hard at it, grow your skills whatever you can, watch YouTube videos, watch how other people do things, really like study the game, the industry that you're in, and then, like at some point you'll be ready to chase it. So I think that's kind of my biggest advice, the things that I've kind of taken away from my last 3 years. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful words. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. That's all.